Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to check out your boy, P-Funk. Thinking right out here in the lab. Why do what I do for you? Oh, we got something good coming up now. It's going to be a little long, so get your popcorn and buckle up. I got a nice little lesson for you coming up. Let's go. Rightism. 25 rules to live by. Storytelling. Story with a message. Message in the story for life. I give life lessons. You tune in to receiving them. We got a good thing going. Let's rock. Right thinking mission. And yeah, that's what I'm on. Is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinkers' way of life through mental and spiritual discipline daily will help and guide you to obtain your goal of spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. That's my mission, and I'm on it, doggone it. Your goal is to know thyself. I'm gonna give you everything you need to make that possible. That's what I do for you. Let's go. I asked the question, do you know you? If not, it's a rhetorical question. But if you don't have an answer for yourself, tune in. I can help you with that. That's what I do for you. Let's go. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple. You teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. Appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believes and think that they know is dangerous. Avoid them. I do. A person who knows but knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm a spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers know thyself. And to my yacht, be true. Well, this little book here is tough. We just went through parables 1 and 2. Now we're on parable 3, which is the longer one. So take the time. I'm trying to get through it without breaking everything down, because pretty much of this is self-explanatory. So as I go along, you should be able to follow, but I'll break it down as we go. It's a good lesson here. All right, let's go. Third parable is the longest, but the right thing is, let's talk about calming the agitated mind. What's the agitated mind? Yours, if it's not under control by you. Now, there's a method to controlling the agitated mind. I'm gonna break that down for you too. That's part of the lesson. So let's get into this thing. Now, excuse me. The third parable is important. Excuse me, the third parable has important implications. Why? For spiritual life. Why? Hedu, which is really you, now turned away from the pit of negativity. She came out of the stupor, the dull state of mind. That's the first stage of becoming enlightened. But she is still what? Not free from her delusions of ignorance, which is what rooted deep within her heart. Uh-oh. Why? She still maintains in the form of what? The wildcat, the lioness. And even though she has had certain glimpses, divine memories every now and then, glimpses of the divine glory of her higher self, she is still, and some of us like that hard-headed, partially what? Entangled in the still your lower self and the will, because it's still fighting. The ego don't give up. Trust me, this is the predicament of most uh, many people, excuse me. Why? They have what? Some inkling, watch this, of their inner higher self. Like that this great lesson about the guy who know everything but himself. He get glimpses of inklings and think he got something, he run off with it, and like a thief, grab a little something and haul ass, think they got it, and really gonna have nothing. So that's what most people who don't pay attention and don't get the full lesson, get fragments and take what they like and leave the rest, they always be wrong. Watch this. So they get an inkling of their higher self, spiritual essence. But then what? Then they are caught up in the egoism. Again, that ego ain't going nowhere. The devil's always busy. Yeah, that's the ego. And it's in you. So it ain't going nowhere. You should be busier. God can beat that. Watch this. With egoism, which still remains in the form of what? ignorance of your higher self, your lower desires, and opposite what I teach, wrong thinking. Okay, that's what an agitated mind is. And watch this. Now it must be cleansed from their minds. How? This state is known as agitation of the mind. It is characterized by, watch this, impure thoughts, bad, and impure feelings, not good, based on ignorance of what your higher spiritual reality. You still stuck on stupid, so to speak. You ain't raised your conscious level to catch up. And on what? Self-indulgence and egoistic feelings, selfishness, and still stuck on individuality. When the mind is agitated, watch this, it what cannot understand or feel clearly. Like the clouds going by the sun, it blocked the sun out for a minute and then it passes by. So the idea of you being ignorant to yourself is like that cloud just ain't passing. You stuck on stupid cloud just standing there, so you're blocking the sun. So the thoughts, watch this, and the feelings are what? Tainted. They're not good. Bad action with good intent never works out. Okay? Watch this. The thoughts and the feelings are tainted with what? With illusions and desires. This is why when strong emotions and feelings take control, watch this, of the mind, what happens? The mind cannot reason what? Objectively. I teach the concept. I can be bipartisan until what? I get caught up in it, until I have emotions or I get caught up in the concept where it distorts my thinking. Clearly. Why? Because I'm involved. You got to detach, show dispassion, and then you can deal with all situations equally. Why? Take your emotions out of it and don't get involved in it. That's why you have to learn that. That's a learned behavior. If you're going to judge, you can't get there and get sympathetic because you hear a sad story and all of a sudden your heart opens because they hear a sad story. You got to hear the other side. They're going to be contradictory. So you got to be understanding, detached, and take the passion out. Okay? That's coming up. I'm going to teach you that too. Now, likewise, watch this. When you're deeply involved, watch this, in worldly things going around you, activities with your egoistic intent, you are actually moving away from self-discovery. And you are intensifying what? The illusions, the distractions, and worldly desires in your mind. It's like going to the beach and staying at the surface, being aware only of the waves, never going down below, seeing what's going on underneath. Like my man, Ralph Smart, let's dive deep. If you're going, you got to go deep. You just can't go on the surface. I teach deep messages, esoteric teaching. I teach you to hit the messages. If you just going, you just want the top of the surface, go somewhere else. If you want the real deal, I'm your man. That's the concept. And it's like going to the beach and just watch it and never going below the surface to what? To experience what? The peace, the calm, and the homogeneous equanimity below. It's something under the water. It's something down there. And in your mind, you got to go a little deeper. Why? Because there's something there. Conversely, when a person lives what in accordance, watch this, with right thinking teachings, and you affirm the spiritual reality in what all areas of life, knowing thyself means you covered every aspect of yourself, working to what promote harmony, peace, and truth. Where in your life it starts with you. You are moving closer toward self-discovery. They may have an active life and still what experience inner peace and the divine presence. This is the deal. Control of your mind. The goal of right thinking philosophy comes down from Egyptian yoga of meditation is to what? Calm the movements of the mind. Well, how you do that? Meditation. Stop, still yourself, and spend time with your inner self. That's how. The mind is on its own. You got to control where and how it goes. That's your job. Watch this. Now, if the mind is calmed, then you can discover the soul. So it's a process of controlling your mind, which is what? Positive thoughts, good feelings, selfish action, aka right action, and curbing your desires. If you can't do those things, you won't be in control. Now the next lesson here is it's important. Why? Because there are two main forms of meditative practice. There's two things you can do meditate. And the twofold method of controlling the mind. First, you got what they call formal meditation. That's when you see them get in position, the lotus position, and they get stationary. They go into chant mode. They go there. This is formal meditation. You got your breathing exercise. Inhale a certain amount. Exhale a certain amount. Breathe in. Breathe out. And then you let the brain, your mind, you let it just forget everything it got to be, forget everything, and let it go into its own concentration mode. That's formal meditation. That takes time, energy, effort to do, and it takes a while to get good at. So now you got the informal meditation. This is the one that I practice. Why? Because I got the other one together. I moved on to the next level. Watch this. It's called informal meditation. And it follows the concept of Imhotep, which means peacefulness with oneself, being at peace with yourself, having that calm. The mind is under my control. That's why. When you're reckless, you need to practice the formal state. Go through all the procedure. Why? You got to get better at understanding how to control your mind. Once you get better at concentration, you can continue to go through that situation or move on to the informal meditation, which is what? Living peace, having peace, reaching the peacefulness within one, Imhotep, that means peace. Then righteousness. Again, when you do what's right, you treat people the way you want to be treated. That's righteousness, doing the right thing, nothing special. Next one is now. You got to learn to detach from scenarios that you may be involved with. If you got to judge it, you have to detach from it and just deal with the facts. When you do that, you got to show another one, which is dispassion. When I say I don't care, it doesn't mean I don't care. It just means I don't care about how you feel, what you think. That has nothing to do with me. Just give me the facts. I'm not involved in the situation emotionally. So I don't need to care. I don't need to feel. I just need facts to judge. That's how it's done. And then you got moderation. That means equal balance. Know the difference. If you got good, the opposite of that is bad. If you got light, the opposite dark. You got up. So understand that everything is dual. So having balance and understanding anything should be done in moderation, be it good, bad, or indifferent. Moderate it, balance it. Balance in all your actions. That's my art. That's the philosophy that I try to get you to understand. Duality means balance. That means you have a choice. When you know this or that, now the choice is yours. Being ignorant of this or that, it's a 50-50 shot. It's a crapshoot, okay? But when you have knowledge, you have understanding, you have control over one's mind, you'll be a better decision making across the board for yourself and others. Why? You can give good advice then. With knowledge of self, you become a psychiatrist, sociologist, a therapist, whatever they need, that's what you become. Why? Because you got everything in your characteristic covered, your personality. So whatever problem somebody else have, you can help them. Okay, moving on. Meditation leads to identification with what? The mind and its movements. When you still yourself, God tell you, still yourself and know that I am God. He won't interact with you if you're busy. If you don't give him your undivided, he ain't gonna talk to you. Think about it. Moving on. Methods to control the mind of integral semi-yoga practice, aka right thinking philosophy. You first of all, how do you gain wisdom? Through understanding and experience. Mhm. You can't gain wisdom from reading. You can't gain reading. You can't, none of that. No, no, no. Wisdom comes from experience. So you don't tell me you're wise. No, no, no. If you ain't experienced it, you ain't wise. No wiser. You can have a whole bunch of ideas. You can be smart, but that don't give you wisdom. Through resolving emotions, that's the dispassion. I don't get emotionally involved in scenarios where I have to be the one, the deciding factor. Take the emotions out. Dispassion. Take my passion out of the situation for whoever's involved. I don't want to feel for neither one of them. I just want to do what I need to do, what's right. Through right action, aka that's my philosophy. Long as you do what's right, when you're in a situation when you know right from wrong, you just make the right decision to do what's right. That's all you got to do. That's my philosophy, and you can practice it too. Last one, transcending thought through meditation. You have to go into that meditative state of mind and let your thoughts do their own thing. Open up that Akashic record, that intuitive knowledge that we have, that when you free your mind, you go into that state of mind, you can get all the information that's open to you, hence the Akashic records. All methods lead you to one thing, the controlling of what? Your life energy, aka serpent power. Y'all know that's Kundalini. The only way you can activate the serpents, I said, and left that in you is to do the right thing. It don't happen no other way. Why? That's how it's activated, through you doing what's right. It knows. And they show you in there when the cobra's in the basket. They play the right tune, the serpent come up. Okay, that's Kundalini. They were showing you that a long time ago. Moving on. They I ain't get involved in that, but yeah, these are the things that they show you and tempt you with, because they know, and they think they know you don't know, so they can put it in your face and they'll tempt you with it, and you don't know what's going on. I hate that they do that, but yeah, they flaunt their esoteric knowledge by giving you esoteric, I mean, at the top layer, and you're supposed to go with that. Moving on. Essential. What's essential? Mental disciplines. These are the things that you have to do to control one's mind. What's this? Right quick. Again, starting with dispassion. Take emotion out of the situation and you'll be fine. Detachment. Don't involve yourself with the situation that you have to deal with. Why? Because that's not a good thing. The next one is, how do you have faith? Faith is defined by intellectual understanding. Blind faith means you just can believe anything. Intellectual understanding means you got a better grasp. When I'm giving you something, I don't want you to just believe it. I want you to understand it so you can use it and be understanding with it. Not to just what he said and I believe what he said. Could I faith? No, no, faith without understanding is nonsense. Intuitive understanding. Here you go. That's experience. You know it from the inside. But once you experience it, you got total understanding of what it is. You know what you know when you know it. After you what? Experience it, which is your best teacher. You can assume, you can guess and emulate anything, but until you experience it, you won't know. Serenity of mind, that's having inner peace. Serenity means comfortable. When you find peace and contentment within yourself, that's self-mastery. That's what it takes. You got to be a Buddha. You got to be a Hindu. You got to walk around, all that, walking and going stand in the temple. Nope. You can practice like I did every day in real time, in real life. All you got to do what you do. It looks different, strange to other people, but all you got to do is stay focused. Okay? Strong will brings on spiritual strength. The dedication I had to do what I think is best keeps me going. That's the will to continue on, even when it don't look good, even when it haven't been. Stick with it. Okay, I'm a perfect example of that one. Now let's move on. I got another page or two, but I see the lessons getting a little long. Let me give you. I'm trying to go through a whole page to see if I can get that in 10 minutes. Okay. Now, when the mind is calm, it can see the truth clearly. Like, my man, I can see clearly now. Why? The rain is gone. The rain is clouding up the mind. So when the rain clears, the mind gets clear. You can see clearly, and one ideas. You can see truth clearly, and your ideas about yourself also becomes what clearer as well. A person may feel great in the morning, feel full of anticipation and cheerfulness. Why? Because they believe they will make money that day. Uh-oh, setting yourself up. You see where we're going here? So the mind is what? Agitated with what? The expectations of what? Making money. And the myriad of things that he would do for it to get it, or what he can do with it once he gets it. They are what? Thinking about the possibilities. They're not thinking, excuse me, they're not even thinking about the possibility of what? Not getting that money to get what they want. This person has what? Deluded him or herself into what? The word, this is a dangerous word, expectation. That's dangerous because in your mind, when you set that expectation, watch this, they have deluded yourself, him or herself into what? Expected a desire to be fulfilled. I want money. I'm gonna go get that money. I'm gonna do this to make it happen. When that don't happen, yeah, crash and burn. Watch this. Mentally in your mind. And this what, watch this. In the afternoon, what? The expectations is not met. So what? The frustration sets in. Okay? The agitation and the depression ensues. Uh-oh, it's getting worse. Now they become what? Angry, belligerent. Why? Because they have attached themselves to what? A roller coaster of emotions and the egoistic expectation based on the activities that they perform in the world of human experience. When I was in my hustling street days, I would leave out the house intentionally with no money in my pocket to see if I could outwit other people to get money. Never came home broke. That's just the concept. So I get that. And if it don't work out, you got to think of something else. You got to do what you got to do. Okay. Failure in life should not be an option. Try something else. That door closed, go to the next one. Now go to the next one. That means you keep going. Watch this. But they have detached from what? The world of the spirit. So they have no awareness of their what? Higher reality. Who works with them? If you work with your man, he'll work with you. When you got no understanding of him, you got to do nothing. Watch this. And they are like a boat caught up in the storm, going up with elation and down with depression. Roller coaster with no end in sight. That's not a good place to be. My man had a phrase, I don't know whether shit or go blind. That means everything is crazy. You don't know what end is up. That's not a good place to be, especially in your own mind with your own self. Watch this. And what happened? They miss out on the more profound positive feeling, which what? Which lies just below the waves that they didn't go through. They just lived on top. The waves of elation and depression. You can beat that. When one studies, watch this, the mind not allowing it to become what? Dejected to the capacity that one can do so or elated again to one's capacity. One experiences a great degree of what? Depth of one's true being. When you don't know yourself, you don't know how far you go, you don't know your limits, what you can take, what you can't. That's being ignorant of yourself, especially your higher self. And watch this. This is the practice of keeping the scales of Maya balanced. I tell you, moderation. Now, in the steadfastness, here you go, in the steadfastness of the mind, they will what? Experience expansion in your consciousness, and you will enjoy a more profound experience of what? Happiness within yourself. And this is called bliss, peace, called my favorite, Hotep. This can only be reached by your doings and by your thought process and your actions. The bliss and peace, we call Hotep, which means supreme peace, of this expansion, watch this, in the aspirant, which consciousness is experienced in a greater and greater degree by who? You, the initiate, or you, the aspirant, who what? Listen, practices deepen the mind and calm at all times, learning how to maintain your cool, the air of where you are, Hotep, peace within yourself. So don't let outside forces control your inside internal makings. It is really what people are trying to acquire by what? Constantly trying to arrange situations. We don't control situations. We control us in the situations. That's the key. And watch this. But they try to arrange situations which will make them feel good, elation, and escape from situations which will make them feel bad, dejection, and depression. You control that, but you see, you go on that roller coaster. Smooth it out. However, my word, because they settle, watch this, either for elation, if they can't arrange the situations, I ain't going there, or dejection, if they cannot, and both which cause what? Mental agitation. They never get to experience that which they are really seeking, which is what? True abiding happiness. Awit ab, which means bliss, and peace of what? Mind, hotep. The experience of the temporary happiness what most people get, which in turn elation is like a drop of water in the ocean as compared to the whole ocean. You get the concept? Why? Which is the experience when the mind attains what a state of perfect serenity, meaning peace within yourself, and enlightenment, spiritual knowledge, draws what? Dawns on that individual, which is you. So what the mass of the people, watch this, feeling that by pursuing the sensual pleasures of life, feeling good, having good things, the nice things of life, they are what? They're being good to themselves. Well, I gotta take care of me. I gotta splurge on me. Okay, that's fine. But watch this. When they do that, they are in reality shortchanging themselves. For temporary pleasures, if you settle for that, that's what they're doing. They are being miserably with what? Themselves, settling for what? So little, when in fact, with a little discipline, little self discipline, or I call it spiritual discipline and self effort, they can what? Have so much more for yourself. How? Agitation arises from, watch this, from the egoistic desires. The desires exist where? In the mind. Why? Because it is searching to fulfill what? A deep longing for what? Wholeness. I need my soulmate. I need things you need, you already got them. If those things you want, that's your own concept, and you got to go get them, which is fine. But watch this. Now the mind is what? Erroneously operating based on what? The concept that acquiring something will make them happy. And they enter into what? Relationships with someone or experience some kind of pleasure will fulfill, thinking some kind of physical pleasures will fulfill their need. Temporarily, yeah, yeah. Fit, anything physical is only temporary. Watch this. But all activities in the relative world cannot satisfy the need. Why? Because all activities there are transitory, and the mind itself is transitory. So it is not possible to experience abiding peace, happiness, and joy with something that is transitory. A car, a house, a mate, money. That's all irrelevant. Watch this. It's unpredictable and it's impermanent, ever changing. I mean, something's going to change. You got money, you got to pay taxes. Okay, whatever it is, it's going to have something to go with it. That's the balance. Now, where we at? Okay, wrapping it up. A spiritual aspirant, which is what you are, you learn to understand what? The hollowness of emotions and the futility of worry, pleasure seeking, wealth, fame, and sentimental egoistic values of what society and are popular in our culture. Everybody want to be somebody. A spiritual aspirant, right thinker, is not caught up in them, nor does any aspirant indulge in what? Expectations and desires based on the illusion of more, or plenty, or pleasures of the flesh. Instead, watch this, a right thinking pursues reason and truth. Impure thoughts may not necessarily be evil thoughts, but they can be based on what? Ignorance alone, even if their outcome appears to be evil. The root cause of impurity in the mind is what? You ready? Ignorance of your higher self, aka the ego self. Examples of impure thoughts may be what? I am alone in this world, ego, and nobody cares for me, more ego. Or I am a miserable human being, biggest ego, depression. And watch this, they may be a God, but he does not care for me. All ego, edging God out of your life. They can't even conceive God. That's the ego self. Watch this. God don't care for me. Or watch this, even another one. Life is for life is for pleasure, and I will get mine any way I can. Ooh, that's all ego. I don't care about anyone else, or life has no purpose, so I don't care whether I live or die. It's a good idea until what? Dying came in. You are void, you are delusionist, and you are empty. Why? All that's hollow, all that's useless stuff that don't get you nothing. A spiritual aspirant must learn to what? Think positive. Positive thinking is a good thing. Keep your mind steady in what? Keep the mind steady in pleasure and pain by what? Surrendering when one's expectations are not met and have positive expectations and desires. These will lead to what? Freedom from what? Negative and ultimately to negativity and ultimately to what? The experience of, you ready? Enlightenment. A positive desire is to desire to become what? Pure of heart, aka Makaru, and be a positive and by and have positive expectations is to what? Look forward to the experience of discovering who? God. These are in accord with the teachings of right thinking philosophy and serve to fulfill the purpose or aka your goal for all human beings. Other examples of positive desires are desires to what? Help humanity and nature. You visit spiritual centers and you read spiritual texts. You deal with spiritually minded people. That's why I got my church family on Sunday and Wednesday who I fellowship with. That's in the lesson. Um, this is third parable. I got a little bit more to go, but I'll be back with the ending part and take it to the fourth and final parable. Hope you enjoyed the lesson. I'll be back.